one of the main obstacles to genuine change in a nation is intolerance. And intolerance has also been seen as having various dimensions. We have ethnic dimension, we have a gender dimension, we have religious dimension. And of course, there are so many other issues that has bedeviled the issue of development in a nation, particularly Nigeria. Today, we are looking at religious intolerance as a key factor. And with that, we have seen that religious intolerance has dampened economic growth, has reduced political development, has also caused great disservice to genuine peace in the land. Today, I have one of the guests here seated with me, and we'd like to talk on. Let's have a break. I'll come back.
This is what happens when we elect public servants and don't tell them what to do for us. Voting is not the end. It is just the beginning.
Trees are an important component of our ecosystem. They perform various functions like providing oxygen, conservation of water, preserving the soil, and support wildlife. Illegal felling of trees is against the law. Anyone caught will face the wrath of the law. Also, it can...
This is Your Image, Your Public Relations flagship program on TV. Today, we're dealing with issue of intolerance. And of course, beyond the issue of intolerance, which has various dimensions, we have already mentioned that it has ethnic dimension, political dimension, gender dimension, and the rest. And when you now look at religious dimension, which is the key area that we are touching today, you want to believe with me that it has also affected us economically, it has affected us socio-politically, and now we are having issues. Peace that should be engendered are being threatened. We have today my scholars who are capable of dealing with the issue. I have on my far right, Mr. Ayo Arojolu.
Thank you for having me.
Ayo Arojolu is a great communicator, and he is here with us to deal with the issue. I also have Jamiu Folari. Jamiu Folari is a lecturer at the Christian University and with the Mass Communication Department. Mr. Folari, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Welcome back to the fatherland.
Thank you.
Nigeria. Well, I hope you brought something from here.
It's been a wonderful and valuable experience.
Okay, you shared the experience with us today. Yeah, we are saying that intolerance has been the bane of development. And for as long as we continue to have issues of intolerance, then we cannot have genuine peace, we cannot have development, we cannot have economic growth. Nigeria, as it is, if I could recall, in those days, we have neighborliness, good neighborliness. We have religious harmony. We have economic growth based on the fact that there is mutual understanding and good relationship. Why? What has happened? Ayo Arojulu?
Well, thank you very much. Recall that we are a nation, and we need to know where we started from. Nigeria has been a product of an amalgamation in 1914 between the northern and the southern protectorates. At independence in 1960, we were proud of our unity and our diversities. Some of those things handle the appellation of giant of Africa. Our population very huge, you know, but there is a pattern of, you know, the diversities. You can see that expressed in ethnicism or you know, in our ethnic.
But there's unity in diversity.
That's what I'm saying. It's okay, there's no problem with that. In religion and all the other divides. But there has been a problem.
So what is the problem?
And this is the issue that there are cracks. People, nationalists, have been advancing the cause of a sovereign national conference to sit down together for us to, you know, look at the basis of the union. If we are talking about unity and we are talking about diversities, we must look at it very well. Are we well cemented as a nation? You know? Because, and that's what a lot of people, our leaders, don't want to happen. There is something called consensus building. Except we do that. But coming to the issue of religious intolerance. Here is my brother here, Jamiu. He's a scholar, a communicator. We share many things in common. He's a Yoruba man. Oh, he's a Muslim. I'm a Christian. What should be the wedge? Should religion be the wedge between us? No. Fortunately, in the southern part of Nigeria, these are really no issues. There is no family in Yoruba area where you don't have Muslims and have Christians. We both coexist together. But we also have the northern part. And then it's not the same. You know what has been happening in Nigeria ever since. You know the issue of the Sokoto and the killing of Deborah. And at the end of the day, this is where we have found ourselves. We cannot, you know, live in denial and begin to think that we are okay. We cannot continue to patch. Something also happened recently in Anambra, I think this week. And, you know, the killing of Fatima was pregnant and, you know, they wiped out only, but thankfully that is not religiously motivated. So there are differences between the two. When intolerance is when you don't tolerate other people's belief. All of us have a right to our religions. We have a right to identify with whatever we want to identify. You have a right to even say, this is my God. There are many Indians I have seen in Abeokuta here. One day I accosted one in a supermarket and brought out the thing from his pocket. I was asking, how did you know that? He said, no, this is my God. My God told me. So everybody is free.
Yeah, everybody is free. Folani. You've just listened to Arojolu's submitting. I'd like to ask you, religious beliefs, does it have a standard? What I meant by standard is that, does it have a way at which we can say, okay, this religion is superior to the other? And why must we now assume that one religion is superior?
Okay, thank you for having me on this program to discuss the issue of religious intolerance. And it's one topic that is very sensitive, and considering the time we have, where we should have what we call sober reflection on what is happening around Nigeria, from the south and north. We've been witnessing unfortunate incidents when it comes to religious intolerance. And when you look at the basic cause, one of the causes of religious intolerance is the issue of mutual respect, when there is absence of mutual respect. And one of the things that will discourage mutual respect is just the question you pose about the issue of standard. Where will you put standard, or will you consider one religion above the other? And until we learn to have mutual respect, there will definitely be challenges in terms of religious intolerance. Who define the standard? I think I was privileged to be contributing to one academic paper, being an academic, which talks about perception engineering. It is not limited to even between two major religions, for example, Islam and Christianity. Even within Christianity, there's this issue of perception engineering. Or even in Islam too, there's also what we call perception engineering. My perception of a particular phenomenon or issue might be quite different from your own perception. For example, let me cite interreligious here so that I situate my explanation to get the perspective and I respond to the question of who determines the standard. For example, for every religion has its own standard and its belief. And until we are educated enough to understand that your belief is your belief, and your belief should not in any way affect the belief of another, or you enforce your belief, or compel another person to abide by your belief, there will definitely be problem. For example, in Islam, you have your definition of who Isa, who is Jesus is. You have your definition of it. In Christianity, you have your definition of who Isa, Jesus is. Your own definition of who Jesus is as a Muslim might be against the definition of who Jesus is for a Christian. So you cannot compel a Christian to believe your own definition and understanding of who Jesus is. The same way a Christian cannot compel you to have the same definition of who Jesus is. But the bottom line is, you have your own belief, the other person has his own belief. You will, on your own right, you are at least, you understand that this is what Christianity is all about, or this is what Islam is all about. So in terms of definition, what we must preach, what we must understand here is that as Muslim, let's talk about the major religion here, and Christian, we call ourselves monolithic religion. What we should emphasize and what should be the standard of what religion is the best, or how do I practice my religion to ensure that another person is not affected, is to look at common ground and avoid the red lines.
Thank you very much.
When you look at the common ground and avoid the red lines, you'll be able to agree to disagree, or disagree in more acceptable terms.
Yes, let me quickly move to the legal expert here, talking about Barrister Kadi Adiremi. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Glad to have you with us. Well, they've been sharing their opinion about this topic, religious intolerance in Nigeria. And I want to say that Nigeria is a land where there are laws, rules, and orders. Why has religious intolerance affected our public life? And does it mean that We do not have legal codes that stipulates or regulates religion, the operations and behavior of the adherents in Nigeria.
All right. So thank you. Surely we do have. That's by way of asking the obvious, actually. The mother of all laws in Nigeria, what we call the ground norm, is the Constitution.
Okay.
It may interest you to know that, and Nigerians, that Section 10 of that Constitution states that no state shall adopt any religion as a state religion. One. In practice, that is not observed. If you ask me anyway, the government has the largest blame when it comes to so-called religious intolerance. How so? In the North today, many parts of the North, we have two different laws punishing the same offense.
Why?
That's the problem of the government. That's why when, for example, Sharia was going to be introduced in parts of the North, there were some agitations that it would create some chaos. Now, for example, Section 417 of the Penal Code Act states that if one person insults another sect could be a religious sect. So when you insult someone's religion, the punishment, if found guilty, is 3 years imprisonment. In the North. In the same North, there is a Sharia law saying the punishment is death sentence. So, that has unintended consequences. People would be confused. Some youth felt, let's kill her. Some other ones felt, let's do 3 years imprisonment. So you see a confusion. If the death sentence thing, for example, had not come in, maybe that would have happened. Now, I'm not against Sharia law, but let one law punish one offense. Where you have duplication.
What is the role of the Nigerian Bar Association in regulating the standard as far as duplication of laws are concerned or judgments are concerned?
Well, actually that is not the role of MBA, but okay. Maybe that's why I'm here now anyway.
Okay, good,
that's why I'm saying this.
Good.
In the southern part of Nigeria, insult on religion, Section 204. In the criminal code, southern part of Nigeria, we have criminal code. The upper part, we have the penal code and Sharia law. So two laws punish most offenses there, but one punish them here, largely speaking. In down south is 2 years imprisonment. And there are some things must be proved. For example, in the North, it must be proved that that person publicly insulted your religion. Public insult. 2, that the person intended to get you angry. So if, for example, Deborah had been taken to the court and it was proved that her intention was not to make those guys angry, then she could not be sentenced to that. In other words, we call it mens rea in crime. For crime to coexist in most cases, someone must have done something, one, actus reus, and the person must have intended or had motive to do that thing. Now, to cap this all up, I respect everyone's opinion, including my dear brother here, but I don't subscribe to the fact of so-called red lines. I don't. There should not be red lines whatsoever. If you say my God is stupid, it's your problem. After all, it's my God. If you say my God, after all, somebody from what Mr. Arojulu said, brought out his God from where? His pocket. If you laugh, you walk away. But the moment I start having red lines in my mind, then intolerance is planted already. If you like, say that my God is gay. If you like, say my God is fat or is belebe. It's your problem. Provided I pray to him, he answers my prayer. So it would be speaking from both sides of the mouth with due respect to say that let's respect ourselves, let's be tolerant, and on the other hand, to blow hot and cold and say that
you provided the legal